Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It's Tuesday, the 9th of September. John's with us.
Hello.
In the studio. John, I want to ask you about Manchester City because there was a breaking news story yesterday that them and the Premier League had come to an agreement. Some people thought it was a loss for City. Some people thought it was a win for City, and there's probably everything in between. I'll be honest, I just look at it and go, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm still waiting for the Premier League to tell us what's happening with City. I'm still waiting for the Premier League to tell me what's happening with Chelsea, who owned up to misdemeanours, got fined by UEFA, but the Premier League have sort of put
over 2 years ago,
put it in a cupboard and lost the key apparently to looking into that one. But in terms of what happened yesterday with Manchester City, what was your sort of reading with it? Because I know a lot of people were asking, what does this mean for Everton?
I mean, when the announcement was made, which was quite bland, wasn't it? We reached an agreement, not more to say here, move along. You know? And some people went all in on, what was it, comprehensive defeat for City, which is an interpretation. But I never really saw...
Class that, by the way.
I never really saw a counter to that, which was great victory for the Premier League. So, and I think where City are involved with litigation, then they've got a track record of wanting to always win, haven't they?
Yeah.
But clearly this had got to the point whereby there weren't really going to be any winners in what was agreed, I don't think. And then it was just how much you're going to lose. So if you think about it, City were basically saying these associated party transaction type rules you've got are not quite right. We therefore don't recognise them. We therefore will happily defend ourselves with the bottomless pit of money that Sheikh Mansour's got. And the Premier, a bit like, probably the reality is a bit like that, to be determined thing that we had out of one of the independent commissions, about a debate around it, how are certain things counted and calculated and stuff, and it's sort of withered on the vine.
Well, this was... Sorry,
so it's similar to that, I think. There was no common sense in beating 10 bells out of each other, spending a lot of money on lawyers. And so my take on it is, yes, okay, let's do it this way. It's a comprehensive defeat for Manchester City, as some might say, because they backed away from... if you like, their argument. But the flip of that is, well, what did they get in return then? Because if it's a negotiated agreement, the clue's in the name, both of them got something out of it, right? So you could take it both ways, Baz. You choose which one you prefer, the half full or the half empty. Either they both won or they both lost. Yeah? And it's a bit like an undisclosed fee on a player.
We have plenty of them.
The buying club says it costs us next to nothing, and the selling club says we got a fortune, yeah? So... I'm expecting now City will announce a substantial deal, extension to the deal that they have with the Etihad airline.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Why should Everton fans be interested in this story? Because remember when this was brought up? Yeah. Everton name was brought up by Manchester City, wasn't it? Yeah. So is there anything more to see here from as far as we're concerned?
No, because if you take a simple view that, and I think City got some working with them, didn't they, who are playing the victim card on PSR and the like, notably Villa and Newcastle, right? So they had some people voting with them on some of this stuff, but the vast majority of the Premier League members voted against City's view of the world. And therefore those rules got put in place. And all that's happened now is City now accept those rules. So nothing's changing for us because we thought the rules were okay. We, Everton, I mean. And now City agree that they're okay. And my sort of educated guess would be City got something out of it. Now, interestingly, depends on how it plays out. It could very well be that an associated party transaction that takes place between Etihad Airlines and Manchester City may not get the scrutiny it would if they hadn't come to this agreement. So maybe the last guys through the door with the deal that might not get the challenge that it would do, be, in different circumstances. Yeah,
because they had a little bit of a moan about 0% loans, didn't they?
Only because they didn't do them.
From Sherry and stuff. So that's why we're sort of discussing it with how it looked for Everton, because I know that when this come on, City City threw our name into the hat, basically.
And because people don't necessarily, well, in this case, you can't read a judgment because it's not a judgment, it's an agreement, and they've chose to keep the agreement private, right? One hopes that the other members of the Premier League know what the agreement is, but it sounds like you'd like to think that it's an agreement that's been made with Manchester City with the agreement of all the other members of said business.
True.
Rather than Masters and his mates have just said, oh, these guys are too hard, let's just let them have this one. Which then brings challenge about, well, what's happening with the 100+ charges they allegedly have hanging over them, and is this a precursor to that being a negotiated outcome? Now, what we do know, and you did it as part of your intro, if you look at Chelsea, for example, UEFA love negotiated agreements, right? Because you get to the answer quicker,
very quickly.
You don't spend a fortune on legal fees. You don't necessarily, get to beat the shit, pardon my French, out of the alleged transgressor.
Yeah.
Which we know the Premier League like doing when it was Nottingham Forest and Everton, but have less of an appetite when it's someone a bit more robust with bit deeper pockets, or you haven't caught them at the right time. I don't think they come after Everton just now because they get a different result than they did previously. So maybe we're in that environment now where Premier League, if they have the wherewithal, will process some of these things faster.
Okay.
Because they'll do it on a negotiated basis rather than spend tens upon tens of millions of pounds of money that could go somewhere else, either into the pockets of their members or indeed into grassroots football or whatever. But we still have the shadow of a long investigation into Chelsea, a longer investigation into Manchester City, and a chief executive who has to be a dead man walking in that job, in my view, because he's so bland. He makes Keir Starmer look like, an effervescent sort of character. And he's not overseeing an environment which it's easy to trust, is it? In my view. So let's see.
Some people might think Keir Starmer is an effervescent character, John.
I'd love to hear those people. Yeah. Well, I mean, the most colourful thing in... Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not him anyway. It's not him anyway.
Everyone's got their own views.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, in terms of Everton getting sponsored by, say, Toyota Gulf or whatever, does anything really change with that other than they just have to prove that it's a fair price? I've got no evidence Toyota Gulf want to sponsor Everton, by the way. I just mean because of what City have done.
It's interesting because if you do salesy type stuff, you end up with some bullshit phrases like fields of play and all that sort of stuff, what you can and can't do and all those sorts of things. So if you talk about Gulf Toyota, then that's a business that's owned by our ultimate owner. So it would presumably be classified as an associated party transaction. Therefore, it'd have to be a fair market value. Now, it's a bit like goddamn refereeing and VAR. There's a whole amount of subjectivity around what that means. Clearly you've got to have a benchmark that you can measure against, and is comparing Everton having a deal with a car distributor, can it be compared with someone else who's got a tyre company? I don't know. I'll do the same. I'll do different. You know what I mean?
But
there's always going to be subjectivity around it, really.
I was gonna, because obviously that's an
illustrative
let's
example.
use like steak, because they're done at the end of the season, as in front of shirt. You said before, and they could nothing stopping them, by the way, going on the side of the shirt for a still a decent amount of money for Everton. That's what we want. Everton could look and go, well, Liverpool, for argument's sake, who's their standard chart still. There you go. I'm making it up. They get
money.
40 million a season.
And the rest, but
or whatever it is to be front of shirt of Liverpool, playing in the Premier League, from the same city, whatever. Therefore, Toyota Gulf are going to pay Everton £40 million a season for the front of shirt, because they're in that league. And that would be a lot bigger than what Stake are paying right now. Would that sort of be acceptable to do?
It depends what your opening position is, because my opening position is I'm an Everton fan, and I go, of course, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely, that's fine.
Yeah.
If a bit, and I think VAR is a good analogy. If you want to forensically look at that to find a reason to say no, just because you've got some cognitive bias or whatever, you go, well, hang on a minute, 40 million for Everton, because as we know, every year they're fighting relegation, versus, say, 60 million for the guys in the same city who win everything. That doesn't sound right. You know, I think actually it should only be 20. And someone will go, well, why 20? Well, because that's what I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's still subjectivity. So unless you codify it and say, well, what's a fair market value? So you can come up with any algorithm you want, couldn't you? You could say, here's 20 Premier League clubs, here is the average.
Yeah.
Now, is fair market value the average? It's a good argument, isn't it? To say, well, the average for a Premier League football club is this. Well, the average for a top half football club is this. The average for a top six is this. The average for those who've won the Premier League in the last 5 years is this. You know what I mean? So somehow you have to come up with something to calculate what fair market value is, other than just these guys in a room have had a look at it and decided that's not.
You see, if I was Everton, I'm not saying.
So I think if you're going to use, because the implication in your question is that the common ownership group between Everton Football Club ultimately and, you know, Gulf Toyota is the same, and they want to find a way of laundering some money into, not in an illegal sense, in other words, an inflated number, which they can justify. Yeah.
Because I would argue.
So then the guy who's got to decide whether it's fair market value may think, actually, the reason you're doing it this way, you know, is this, right?
Well, I'd argue you're playing in the Premier League, which is the most watched league, and if Liverpool are getting 60 million, then Everton can get 60 million.
Well, that's where, you know...
That's my starting point.
No, I'm with you.
If they want to knock it down a bit to 40, you go, well, you know what? That's what it's like that thing, isn't it? Always ask for more now when you get knocked down to the number that you're happy with anyway. Well, so I'm not saying Everton would do that or Gulf Toyota would be interested in it, but it'd be a way of, in the books, it'd be a way of giving us more room, which is what we want for buying players.
If you want to position,
and other clubs,
if you want to position yourself to exploit the ownership group, and bear in mind, presumably, one of the biggest plus points or the biggest arguments you would have to justify a huge number coming out of Gulf Toyota would be the fact they're prepared to pay it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if it's a, like other clubs might have done, it's not all going to be paid by them, and therefore it's breaching the rules, that's completely different,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
But you could simplify all this by the 20 clubs could go in a room and say, you know what? The average for a Premier League front of shirt sponsor in recent times has been X. Therefore, any number that's below that must be fair market value. And then it's how much do we inflate that number, you know, for different outcomes. And what we don't know, of course, and you would think the Premier League might, is when we see a headline number for a Liverpool or a Man City or Man United, whoever it might be, is that with all the add-ons, to use the playing analogy, You know, so because Everton could announce, we've done a £75 million a year deal with XYZ for our front of shirt sponsor, and everyone get really excited. But actually, it's 25 with 50 add-ons, which require us to win the Premier League, win the Champions League, right? So there's too much, which is down, just like in the sporting side, for me anyway, there's too much which is subjective in the sense of how much do we trust and believe the people making the decision, and I think that's the Premier League's challenge. Look,
because I want to ask you about, again, just off the top of my head while I'm thinking about it, Liverpool have, just using Liverpool as an example, I think United have a similar thing, is that Liverpool have standard chart, or just standard, whatever it is, on the front of theirs. Can't look at it too, you know, long enough without it, you know, it registering. Don't like to look at it. Don't want to be infiltrated. No, but they have that on the kit. But the training kit's sponsored by Access.
Somebody else.
Isn't it? Or something like that. And obviously they get a big chunk of money for that as well.
These are all assets to exploit,
Whereas Everton have stake on the training kit, stake on the actual kit. Is that something you think Everton should be looking to move away from? And maybe get a kit sponsor and the training? And I know you might say, who's really that bothered about sponsoring Everton's training kit, but why not?
These days, the training kit or the warm-up kit or whatever
you want to call it,
can all be as visible on occasions as the other stuff. So there must be an asset value.
I think the training kit, in some respects,
is more.
Could be more, couldn't it? Now, you don't let's just keep steak for now. Just imagine steak are on it next, and they can't be for anyone who starts getting a cob on. They can't be on it next year. It's got to end on front of shirt. But just let's say it was for one more year. Then fair enough, have a match day gear with steak on warm. I get that. But in the week where you're getting all the training shots and the pictures, and Everton could easily put images out every other day, couldn't he? With that other brand. Is that something Everton should be looking at doing? And then on top of that, I'll give you two, and I know you're probably going to say yes, but you can explain why they should be doing it. Why have we not had a training ground sponsor since the USM stuff was frozen? Because my understanding, certainly a couple of years ago, was it was just frozen. It was never terminated because
you never know when
we never know when it was whatever.
Yeah.
But I think we're probably past that now, especially with it changing hands. So I just wonder if someone like Angus Kinnear or the new financial fella who's come in, or and he wouldn't really fall under this.
No, it's commercial.
So the commercial thing, should Everton be looking for A, training ground, training gear sponsor, and B, Finch Farm sponsor?
Second one's easy. No idea. Yeah. Why we haven't got a sponsor for.
But should we be looking for it? Because we've had it before.
Yeah, you could almost do a tier Tuesday on, what assets do you have and which ones are you prioritising, right? Yeah. But I think we should have as many assets as possible that we can sell. I mean, we can all laugh and joke about Everton's official lollipop sponsor who's paying 50.
Do we have one of them?
I don't know. We should.
We should have.
Donut sponsor. Who knows?
Oh,
right?
Yeah, as long as they subsidise the bleeding donut. Yeah.
Well, then it's how is the sponsorship executed? It could be this should be £6.50, but you're all paying £3.50 because
we've got
Barry Cass Incorporated is sponsoring the other £3. Yeah.
Shut up.
But the answer
I felt like I was sponsoring that chicken for bloody.
But document the assets,
yeah.
Right, and try and get individual sponsors for each and every one, right? Because right now you're assuming. It's a fair assumption, I suppose, that Stake are sort of getting all those, whatever they're getting, yeah, let's just say it's the training and the actual playing kits for whatever they're spending, right? Now, is there a restriction on the training kit? It's only for Premier League.
I don't know, Manchester United got about 300 million.
No, I don't mean that. Come next season, are Stake allowed to be on the training kit?
Oh, okay.
Let's just assume, yes, they are. Right, so straight away they might say, you know what, we may get bang for our buck because we'll spend less, right? But who's to say we don't already have two assets? Front of the training kit, full of the playing kit, and they're paying for them separately. And when it's put together, it's Stake paying X. I don't know, because you're starting from an assumption that they're just getting that bundled in as almost like a freebie, when it could be a separate asset, couldn't it? Right, and if we then do the double act of front of shirt sponsor and sleeve sponsor, whatever we're getting today for that added together, then it's the job of the commercial people, if that's who we call it, to make sure that next season, when those two numbers are added together, it's, well, in an ideal world, it's bigger.
It's got to be bigger.
It's bigger than the current number because it will be a more attractive proposition and so on.
It's got to be bigger, hasn't it? Because nothing in commercial things should go down.
Yeah. And this is where you then get into that when we talk about levers, is the value per year, we'll call it a per year value, versus the term. And I remember back in the EBM days talking about entering into 10-year agreements. If you haven't got exit clauses and stuff like that, it's a big mistake because it's a bit like buying a player, isn't it? Sticking him on a 5-year contract, finding out he's crap, and you're stuck with him for 4.5 years, sort of thing. So we should have a document. I've never done it. Perhaps we should do it by some time. But list what we think are the saleable assets, and then the next challenge is then just how much you're going to get for them. But straight away, we'd say front of shirt, we'd say sleeve, we'd say, I don't know, maybe you could have a different sponsor on the tracky tops or something. I don't know, making it up. But clearly, we've got Hill Dickinson as a sponsor for the main stadium. Then we say, well, what about the training facility then? And some money's better than none.
Well, we've got Budweiser, haven't we? I know.
For the plaza.
Everton haven't gone. Me and Ped were talking about this yesterday. They haven't gone heavy on the Budweiser fan plaza. I think they should. They get money for, let's keep on that. They've got money for that thing that they've built outside, which is great. That's good. Pepsi's come in now, so they're the official drink sponsor and all of that, so that's good. So we're starting to get better brands involved, which is great.
Yeah.
But I do wonder about the training ground, because I'm not sure, but I think Everton could get a sponsor for that training ground. And then there's another commercial deal, which gives us a bit more freedom, of course, because it's all about building that revenue up. We've just had and I'll come on to this next, just thought it was interesting with the City stuff and then what you can do with that. But I just wonder if, even if Toyota Golf don't want to take the shirt, for argument's sake, they could do the training ground, surely. Things like that.
Doesn't the training ground need to be worth something to somebody though?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the key bit? Is that it's?
But isn't that what sponsorship is all about?
But USM, you can't exactly use it as
a
barometer, can we?
I'm using it.
No, there's not very many clubs who have got training ground sponsors. Liverpool have got theirs. Manchester United have got theirs. The Etihad campus. It's more like a thing that's tied into something else, isn't it? So I think what you'd say is like that would probably fall under the umbrella of the training ground sponsorship, as in with the kit as well.
Maybe. Gear. I'm just thinking there's an asset there that okay.
Don't forget as well, Manchester City have a separate training ground, have a separate training gear sponsor. It's a Asian beer. But then it's an Etihad campus to go with the stadium. So there's a lot of different variations, isn't it?
But what I'm saying is, but we could almost, again, I suppose I'm playing Everton bending the rules. I'm not bending the rules. The rules are there.
Bending the rules, yeah.
Everton sort of doing what USM did, but Toyota Golf doing it. So Everton might go to 10 firms, 10 companies in the world and go, going to sponsor our training ground. There's a press conference. There's a press conference live every week from it.
Well, it's always got to be referenced.
It's got to be referenced as. You see it, players driving in. We'll use more shots to get it in. All of this, all training pictures, we'll have it in front of the logo or whatever. When we're doing our videos that go out every week, the training when they're coming out, we'll start like they do. Here it is, the Toyota Golf, Finch Farm. Whatever it is.
Is that on
and see whether they get any bites?
Well, I was going to say that's a really good point, but then is that become on Everton? Because when you think about it right now, there is one press conference a week where there's teams who are in Europe will have probably two.
Yeah.
You have deadline day stuff where
they're there.
Alan, Vinny, whoever has to say I am here.
That's twice a year, isn't it?
Toyota, Finch Farm.
Yeah.
So do Everton then have to create more opportunities to have something going on at Finch Farm, even if it's just off their own back? I know,
I would, yeah.
Bigger clubs in terms of someone like Paris Saint-Germain, they have probably a couple of press conferences, 3 or 4 press conferences a week, or have something going on at their training ground every other day, and it's on YouTube and stuff, to create something that is then worth.
But don't forget, you've got the academy highlights that they show.
But that's what I'm saying.
So you could
Everton then have to create more opportunities
to
have
asset.
People to go down to say, I am here at whatever it's called, Finch Farm.
And then it's a case of, and again, I was using USM, like you just said before, that was that really worth whatever?
It's money laundering.
Okay, but other clubs do have training ground sponsors.
There was no associated party transaction per se. There was, but it got nodded through, didn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm saying,
there was no comparison to say, well, how can we prove it should be lower? Yeah.
But there's other. What I'm trying to say, there's other clubs doing it. So if Everton offered it to 10 companies throughout the world, and there wasn't many bites on it, there's nothing stopping Toyota Golf taking it, even though that's with the owner. I'm not saying they could take it and go, we'll give you the 100 million a year. Quite clearly, people will be going, what?
You sit in a room, right, and you set the budget. And budget is often, people think of that as money you're going to spend.
Yeah.
But you can't spend what you haven't got.
No.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
So on that journey, and this will lead to an answer for Ped, I guess, you list the assets that you're prepared to sell. The billboards, if you will.
Yeah.
Every billboard in the city of Liverpool will have an advert on it. Some of them are paying a lot of money, some of them are paying next to nothing, right? Because no one wants to buy it, but it's better to have an
Something
advert
on
than
it,
nothing at all, right? So once you've listed the assets that you're prepared to sell, you then have to try and value them, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you use the stadium as an example, we know that allegedly, because it's non-disclosed, that asset of having the name on the side, briefing all the journalists to call it Hill Dickinson, don't even put that in front of it, blah, blah, blah. So all the etiquette stuff come with a price of 10 million plus per year. So somebody says, okay, well, we've got Goodison Park then for the ladies, or we've got the training facility, down at Finch Farm. Should we give that a name? That's an asset. We can sell the sponsorship for that. And you say, well, okay, well, how much is it worth? I don't know. We look at Liverpool, we look at Man United, whatever. But whatever we got will be north of nothing.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Now, back in the day, I used to speak to Mashiri, and one of the throwaways he did was around the time that we got Stecklenburg as one of the reserve goalies, and Bill negotiated it to be less money than his club at the time wanted. And just a throwaway from Farhad was, and that pays for Finch Farm for a year. And the number was $1 million or less, right? So if you like the cost, lights on, all that sort of rubbish, cutting grass, blah, 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 is, say, I'm just making it up, £1 million, that's currently a cost.
Yeah.
You get
£2 million.
You get £1 million sponsor, it's now costing you nothing.
Yeah.
If you get 2 million, you now turn a -1 into a plus, and so on. Look after the pennies, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But you have to start with a list of which assets you're prepared to sell. And back in the day, we chose never to sell the name of Goodison Park with a sponsor's name associated to it. But we don't have a problem with a brand spanking new stadium. We've done what Tottenham have never achieved, sort of thing.
We did slap Megaphone on the side of the park end, by the way.
That's true, yeah.
Do you know that Arsenal's training ground is called the Soha Realty?
No,
Training ground.
Realty, I guess. Yeah. Realty, yeah. Whatever. No.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Well,
So there you
Liverpool's
go.
is AXA, isn't it?
Liverpool's is AXA, so you get it's there.
So the very simple thing would be, yes, there's at least one asset that we are aware of on our little committee here, which we're not currently getting any income for because there's no badging on the side of it that says it's Toyota or it's Stake or it's whatever.
It's whoever, yeah.
So therefore, once you've got the asset and you try and value it, and then you test the marketplace and so on and so forth, you seek to get as much as you possibly can.
Of course, yeah.
If it's below what you think is a fair market value, i.e. what you want, then that shortens the contract, I guess.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
But when he says over there, well, does anyone want to do it really? Well, maybe not. But we might have said to State, you know what, lads, you're going to pay, 15 million quid a year for this. Make it 17 and we'll chuck in Finch Farm. So even if you can't get it to stand up on its own 2 feet independently, then you can use it as a tease to talk something else up get a deal across the line, and so on. And one of the finest ways to explain and expose to people that you can sponsor Finch Farm is when it's already got a sponsor.
Of course, yeah.
But you then turn around in that budget meeting or that, and turn around to the commercial guy and say, you need to generate this amount of commercial income incrementally to what we already have. Now, that person is going to go, how the heck am I going to do that? There's Finch Farm, or there's the bottom of the shirt, if that's allowed, or there's whatever. I'm talking as things change.
Yeah, well, a clever way of doing it.
And do that.
Clever way of doing it would have been if you got a training ground sponsor, and part of the deal would have been that you'd also sponsor all the youth teams who can't wear Stake on their shirts.
There you go, an example. So you just found, in that sense, another asset, yeah? And if you found the right brand, people might want it on their shirts.
Well, we had for a tote.
We had the Italian
thing on the 18s, the academy, because they couldn't have
And they must
Stake.
have been paying for that.
Yeah, so there's definitely way. Ultimately, in my head, I'm just trying to create more money to buy
when this goes
footballers.
down the track, if because we talk, don't we, or we have done, that come next season, the only thing we know with some degree of certainty is this won't be on the front.
Yeah.
We don't know if it'll be on the sleeve. Well, if it goes on the sleeve, where's Christopher Ward going? I mean, I don't even know whether you're allowed to have different sponsors on different shirts. Could you have a home shirt with Apple on it and an away shirt with Google on it? Who knows? I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But it's being creative around how many... of course, everyone will copy it once you come up with a good idea.
Of course, yeah.
And it's much easier for the industry to say things like, and Ped said it, well, not many have sponsors of their training grounds. Is that because they don't need the money? Or they're prepared to have nothing rather than what they want, a bit like Daniel Levy did in the naming of the Tottenham Stadium, because he put value on building the brand called Tottenham versus giving the brand value away to whomever.
Course, yeah.
So if you're having those debates, that's fine. But it's perhaps a bit lazy just to start off with, why can't the owner just do it?
No, but
because that's where we were with USM.
Yeah, but if it kicks the ball, if it starts the ball rolling, and Toyota took it for 3 years, just say for argument, I'm just using Toyota Golf just because it's a name.
No,
and I know he's attached to it. If that started the ball rolling, and just say Everton got $5 million a year, for argument's sake, for sponsoring that thing, then in 2 years you start offering it round, going, their partnerships come to the end. You want it? This is how we've used it. We've got to be looking for every way.
Of course.
We can start creating other income, more income, so we can build. Because it's no good. There's no point David Moyes and the ownership group, the board, whoever, creating this kick of like, we're getting better, look at us. And then we hit the ceiling that Newcastle and Villa are crying about now. I've cried about it in the past.
Yeah.
Forest just didn't care and just broke the rules anyway and went, we'll take the punishment. That's fine if you're going to do it. You're going to just go, we'll take 8 points next season, but we're going to spend 300 million for doing it. Sound, if that's what you're going to do. I don't see many teams doing it, but they're the consequences of doing it.
You may be surprised. Because if they ever put squad ratio in, and they be in the Premier League, and they mimic what UEFA do, the early punishments are fines.
Yeah, that's all they are. And so people might just
go... So that then goes into your budget. Oh, we're going to do this, but we're going to get a fine. Yeah. And it'll be 10 million quid. So let's put that in then, Now,
but then budgets won't matter if you're deliberately going, well, we don't care, then we'll get fined 10 million, but we're spending 300 million.
So the top-down view of the world here, ultimately, because we all want it to turn into assets on a football
field. Of course, yeah.
Right?
That's all it's about.
Is, and you've heard this, so suffer me, because you've heard it more than once, right? This was first said by me to Robert Elson. I look forward to the day when Everton Football Club's turnover is greater than any business that I personally have run. I've been retired 10 years and it still isn't. Right? So my question to an Angus or whomever, right, would be, when is this football club going to turn over £300 million a year? And what you're doing between now and then to make it happen. Okay? You can have the organic stuff, i.e. it just happens.
Yeah.
The stadium's one of those. So if we accept, me and you, and Ped, that the stadium's going to add, just because it exists, 50 million to the turnover. We'll just say 50 million, right? Well, turnover last financial year, whatever it was, we don't know last year, but the last one we've seen was, 190 or something. So this stadium makes it 240. Angus hasn't done that.
No.
It's just 240 because Farhad spent a lot of money to build a stadium, right? So when's it going to be 300?
Yeah. So the challenge is on then.
Yeah. And so you would have a 3-year plan, 5, whatever.
Whatever.
You say, here's the growth. And maybe our challenge should be, our challenge is to close the gap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, my EBM analogy was, doesn't matter much faster than we're running right now, we're running. If the guys in front are running faster anyway, they're still going away from us. So we have to not just run fast to keep up.
The sprint, don't we?
Then we have to go faster to close the gap. Now, you, as you're a pragmatist or maybe, less optimistic than me, will say there's some of the runners in this race we're never going to catch. See that straggler there? We can have him. I'm making it up. That's Villa. We'll have them. We get past Villa and move away from them. Who's next? Tottenham, maybe. I'm just making it up.
Yeah.
Can we get close enough to them as it doesn't matter? I hear you that close.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then you turn that into actual objectives. And if you strip out things like, well, they get 50, 60 million for being in the Champions League, because you can look at the headline numbers, can't you? Say, well, City turnover 600, 700 million, the RS do similar. But you take off the numbers that are because they got there, and you say, well, how much match day income do Liverpool get? For example.
100 million.
And whatever it is, if you just take a really crude example and divide that number by how many people come through the gate, i.e. the stadium size, and then pro-rata that for Everton, you end up with an initial target for match day income, don't you? But you've got to get more.
Yeah.
Because A, your stadium's too small, but B, you've also got to close that gap. And you do that for all your income drivers. So you turn around to your man who's running the academy, I want 10 million quid out of you a year.
Yeah.
As a number or whatever.
Yeah.
You turn to your commercial guy, find all the assets we can sell. Go on, Ped, you could do this now. If you go on, if you get an email or you go on the website of Manchester United and you get to the bottom where all the sponsors are, there's probably about 5 pages of them. When me and Roger and Paul did this with EBM, there was Everton's was like about 3 or 4. It's a lot better now.
Yeah.
But there's loads of opportunities. But you've got to have a single accountable individual who the chief exec looks at every month and says, how are you getting on, Baz? Where's the extra income?
Yeah.
Because you get so far through the year, say, you know what, you were tasked with winning business, sponsors will call them, with a contract value and making it up, say, of 30 million, because I want 10 million a year.
Yeah.
Well, you're halfway through the year. You haven't done any. So you need to do 60 million now. Because for the second half, I still want my 10 million. Because guess what? We've spent it. David wanted a right back. We've spent it. Well, come on, you know. And it's that real hard-nosed management by, you know, accountability and whatever. Now, of course, the commercial guy could say, I've just got some, I don't know, some company I've never heard of, say they'll give us 2 million quid to sponsor Finch Farm. And let's say people's heads would fall off even more than it did for those who Hill Dickinson fell off for. And the club go, we don't care, we want the money. Or they go, nah. Right? So you can set fields of play.
Of course. Yeah.
We want certain kind of brands.
Yeah.
We want to raise our ante. Look at Liverpool, right? Standard and Chartered, forget whether they're naughty boys sometimes. AXA, big blue chip brands who are around for a long time. Look who we've got. Someone who can't be around for a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you set the fields of play, you send your commercial person off to do it, and the answer is, when are we going to turn over 300 million? And don't say when we've won something, because that might never happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair play.
And then how much of that 300 million is going to be profit? You know, if we add 100 million to our turnover and more than half of it's profit, that's a massive benefit for the manager.
No, of course, yeah. And that's all we want, don't we?
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
We want to be able to build.
And that's, we talked about Angus, the window's closed, he'll do a wash up, we'll film it, and then he can get on with doing all these other things he couldn't do while the window was open.
Well, the clock's ticking now.
Yeah,
He's got
absolutely.
big decisions to make.
Yeah.
Gary Waters Hardy.
Hi,
Oggy says, first of all, before I go on to these, what have you made of the Jordan Pickford stuff that's gone on around England? He became clear now England's second most ever cap goalkeeper.
Yeah.
77 caps, I think he's got. He'll be in goal tonight in Serbia. Hasn't let a goal in for 540 odd minutes, chasing his own record, by the way, of 726 minutes without conceding a goal.
Just saying,
at international football. And yet, people like Alan Pardew, and listen,
who?
I wouldn't trust Alan Pardew to make me a cup of tea. The fella, no, you know, I've probably just forgotten more in the last 20 seconds than he knows about football. He's a clown, in my opinion. Still, he's not good enough for England.
Okay.
But
best of a bad bunch then, eh?
But then said, he's a certainty to play in the World Cup in the same sort of thing. So what do you make of the Jordan Pickford criticism? Because I just find it bizarre. I really do.
Couple of things there always is, isn't there? One is, I think that narrative is changing slightly.
Not from Pardew, it's not. But carry on.
Well, he's a dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some guy still thinks if he'd given him £250 trillion last summer, we'd be in the Champions League now with him as a manager. But hey ho. But the dinosaurs who are lazy have stuck. There's a bit of lag in the narrative changing, isn't there? The lazy pundit is stuck. Hasn't got the email yet that says actually is Jordan underappreciated. I've seen more than one journalist saying, is he underappreciated, right? But then you see some click-based, with hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers and type websites going, he's only made 2 saves in the last game, as if that's bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think the narrative is changing. But I just think, I don't get it. Honest to God, I don't get why the narrative's been so crap for so long. And it's almost when some of these pundits say, and Carragher's in there somewhere, I guess, I'm sure he'll have said something, but they almost say, well, they don't use the words, but the sentiment is he's just the best of a bad bunch. Even backhanded compliments are, well, he's a shoe-in for the World Cup because no one else, But he's seen off every pretender and he's going to break hopefully, his own record for clean sheets and stuff. And then the backhanded compliments are things like, he's never let England down, implying he lets others down.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't get it. I just think it's really lazy journalism, lazy punditry. And these ex-managers and ex-players who get paid to talk cack are going to find out getting paid is more and more difficult. Because actually, it's not real, is it? And most fans these days are far more informed than those people who are allegedly giving them their words of wisdom. So they know, and these people will get cancelled. I mean, I thought Pardew had been cancelled. So he's popped up somewhere, has he?
Well, TalkSport have given, because they take anyone, don't they?
Yeah. So
Ian Murphy,
I don't get it anyway, is the answer to your question. So.
The discourse around Jordan Pickford is irritating beyond belief. Dave Hoggart says, can we have a shout out to the Western Australian Everton Supporters Club, who beat our Liverpool counterparts 7-2 on Friday night. We have none other than the legendary Gary Stevens as our coach.
Wow.
Tremendous. Brilliant. Wow. Well done. Well done, Dave, and the Western Australia Everton Supporters Club, and well done to Gary Stevens.
Down, to go,
what a player. Yeah. Obviously, big congratulations to Everton women who won 4-1 at Anfield.
Was that their
Sunday.
5th or 6th in a row that they've won there?
They've won quite a few.
I think it's 5 or 6 in a row. It's mad.
More than the men's.
The manager's never lost.
Let's see if we
Setting
can
the
do
bar.
It. Let's see if we can do it.
Sorry, I think you said it yesterday, Ped. I think the actual fact is the lady who scored the hat-trick on her debut, of all things, is the first hat-trick by any Everton player since Dixie in 1931, not just at Anfield or anywhere.
Yeah.
How mad is that?
Mad.
Some good goals in there as well, if you've seen them.
Anthony McClellan says, I love the fact that footballers turn decent working class people into ruthless venture capitalists.
Who's that?
It's just laughing. That's what you're looking at for football, isn't it? Now it's everyone's like, what can you squeeze out of everything, isn't it?
Well, we've at least
that's what you've had to get to, haven't we? It's grim. I just want to talk about
We've moved on from being accountants and lawyers
to just being venture capitalists. Detective Riggs says if Pickford played for the so-called top 6, he'd be called world class and the only keeper for England by all these people. I mean, that's absolutely spot on. El Tel says Pardew the other day saying 5 players who definitely go to the World Cup, and he says the goalkeeper's certain. Never mentioned his name, but mentioned the others. But he doesn't like him because he still thinks he's like at Newcastle and that as well, doesn't he? Pardew, because he was a blade when he was at Newcastle, wasn't he? El Tel also says Dean Henderson not good enough, Trafford, Pope or any other keeper. Dave Murphy says the criticism from so-called professional pundits just jumped. Is needling, but those that matter, he is appreciated. Semi Charm Life says no other keeper gets close to Pickford. Everton JDLC says, John, are you from Kirby? And if so, have you got a brother called Andrew?
No, I haven't got a brother called Andrew, and I'm not from Kirby. I'm from Liverpool, but I did live in Kirby. But no, I don't have a brother called Andrew. Certainly, if I do, my parents didn't tell me.
Graham says, I think it's quite simple regarding Jordan. He doesn't play for one of Sky's glamorous collection of top teams.
I don't think that's true. I think there's just some dumb schmucks out there who are lazy.
Daniel says the Pickford stuff's a non-conversation.
Yeah.
We fly under the radar and they have no idea how good he is for us.
Actually, I disagree with that. I actually think I actually think it's an indication of how bad the media is in this country.
Yes.
I saw a thing the other day with a guy off Sky, Rob Dorsey, and he said, again, keeping the conversation going. I don't know. I was on Sky twice last week talking about Jordan Pickford, and on both times I had to basically say, why are we talking about Jordan Pickford while I was on? And this guy, Rob Dorsey, in another thing, said he's arguably the number one. He's never let England down. And then he said, but he doesn't. But it's strange that he doesn't have the same club form as he has for England. And I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
The third most clean sheet.
This wasn't to me. This was like a conversation I had with another pro, an ex-pro, and he was like, this is England's correspondent. And I think this is what winds Evertonians up, is that sentiment of, how come he's good? He's so consistent for England and he's not for Everton? And it's like, you people do not watch Everton. It's so clear. And I think that's what winds people up. It's this idea, like, going back to Pardew, I seen something with Pardew last week. There was a Premier League show on the night before the last round of games. And I can't remember who would do something. It might have been Kudos. And he was talking about Kudos. And his reference point for number 10 in the Premier League was Teddy Sheringham. A player who has not played in the Premier League
25 years
for like 15 years or whatever it is. And when he did play, the last game he was 41. This is a guy who said live on TV, it was about a tsunami just after there'd been a terrible, terrible tsunami. He also said, if I remember rightly, mentioned an R word about a player being hard down the way. I'm not even going to say it. That's heinous.
I remember
And that's the problem, is that shows the level of the media that we are. Right, England, right, I couldn't care less about them. But I do know that they've got massive issues all over the pitch. They change the team every 3 months by the looks of it. There's players all over the... Have you seen... Right, I don't want to be disrespectful. How on fucking earth does Dan Burn play for England? He is garbage. In any other era, he would be... It's laughable that he plays for England, and yet he does. People might go, he's been amazing. He's done... Listen, the guy's done amazing for his level because he is shit. Right? But fair play to him for carving out a career. Unbelievable. Gives hope to me still. And yet he plays for England. And I seen another thing yesterday about Tyrone Mings playing. Got a good. Tyrone Mings, do me a favour. England, if you think you're going to win the World Cup with these, and they're talking about a goalkeeper that is easily the best goalkeeper in the country, it's mad. But what that shows you is the level of journalism in this country is on its arse. Absolutely. And I think that's the bigger question. Carry on.
Thank you for that. Other views are available.
Yeah,
but I agree. I agree with that one.
Yeah. Each to their own, but yeah.
But yeah,
it is crazy. It's crazy.
It's lazy.
It's crazy that it's even a thing, because there's no one even said this. That's a ped yesterday or last week. If there was a goalkeeper pushing him, he was really good, and he was outperforming him, and he wasn't getting a look in because there was favouritism with Pickford, I could sort of go, he probably should. There's nobody gets near him. I said this when Arsenal fans started trying to cry arse over Ramsdale. Fit to lace his boots, and he's took every club. Newcastle need to be careful because they've employed him, and normally it ends in relegation. Pope, nowhere near the level. Trafford, nowhere near the level. Henderson is decent, but he's nowhere near the level.
David Moyes brought 2 brand new goalkeepers in to push Jordan Pickford more. Like, that was the main reason why we got rid of our goalkeepers, because he probably thought, Jordan Pickford's getting too comfortable now. We need to push him. So we brought in a 25, 26-year-old and someone who's in his early 30s to push him more in training to keep those levels where they are. Easy. So it's a ridiculous argument.
Yeah. Like you say, I'm not that arsed about England. I always want them to do well, but I'm not really bothered about it. But there's bigger problems England have got all over the place. Certainly the defence. The defence is awful.
Got 2 strikers.
No, but the defence is awful. Like, it really is. And they go on about the goalie. Oggy says, afternoon, fellas. If you were in charge, what length of contract would you offer Pickford, Tarkowski, Garner and Michalenko?
Garner's easy. A year.
James Garner. Not Idrissa.
Not Garner.
Garner. James Garner.
Yeah. When's he out of contract?
Summer.
Okay. 3.
He's 24.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tark 1.
Tarky 1. Pickford.
At least 3.
So more than James Garner.
Well, 3.
And Michalenko.
2.
He's 26. Interesting.
2+1 option on our side.
Yeah. Pickford, for me, what is he, 30? 31.
32 next April or something.
Is he? So 3 with an option.
Yeah.
Taki,
1+1.
1, yeah, with an option. Garner 4 because of his age.
3+1.
And Michalenko 3, maybe. He's 29.
2+1. But the challenge we'd have with Michalenko would be he wouldn't do 2+1, will he?
No, of course he won't. Garner won't do 3 either.
That's what I mean. And so
those players, rightly so.
Your opening view is what you want, and your finishing view is somewhere between what you want and what they want.
It'll probably be 3-4 year contracts and a 1 year contract. Will probably be what it all settles on, I'd imagine. We'll see. Jake Ablett says, just 4 more days until I get to watch Jack Grealish play football. Derek says, afternoon, gents. Following on from Monday's discussion about fullbacks, I've read Denzel Dumfries wants to move to a Premier League club. We were heavily linked with him a couple of years ago. And to quote an ex-Barcode manager, I'd love it. I'd love it. Well, he was all done until Rafa Benitez said no to him and Livramento. He's about 28 now, though, isn't he?
Just going to look him up.
Sure, he's about 28. He's a very good attacking fullback. I think he'd give David Moyes nightmares about this defending ability. But
he couldn't defend before, could he?
No, but he's like an extra attacker. He's probably, if you make sure your defensive midfield player does his duty correctly, he's probably the exact fullback you want in terms of taking you on, particularly at home. Because not only he raids down that right hand side, he can run. He gets goals as well. Is he 28?
Can't find him.
No. He's DUMF.
No, it's a spelling. Yeah.
Well, if you do, you should come up.
29.
29.
30 next April.
Yeah. Probably sailed.
Why wouldn't we get a 23-year-old version of him?
Well, we tried to get, even though he's not. Alali's not quite him, but he's good and he's only 21. And that's who they looked at. So, because there probably isn't many 23-year-old versions of Dumfries, because he was like an attacker. But think he could be like, not quite the same. He hasn't got the physical attributes of Dumfries, but Hector Fort, who Everton were interested in, the Barca kid, he's really attacking.
6'2" as a fullback.
He's powerful as well. I mean, if you could get him on a 2+1. Depends how much his wages are, but he'd be a good signing. Like. Bruin Pinto says, any chance Everton will be doing a 4th kit this season? Realistically, if we did release it, how often would we play in it? Don't know. We'd hardly play in it because we hardly play in the 3 kits, do we? The away kits.
There's been talk.
No, I know there was someone mentioned there might be a 4th, but I don't personally think there's a reason to do it, but other people will have different views. But we hardly play. When we have the 3 kits, we hardly wear the 3rd kit as it is. So, Bert says, "Hi guys, thank God the internationals are over." Well, they're not, because they're all tonight as well, aren't they? But what a load of crap. Looking forward to seeing Everton again on Saturday, although it'll be a tough game. Haven't beaten Villa since they promoted.
It's interesting, just go back to Dumfries, that he's saying that when he's got just under 3 years left on his existing contract.
Shouldn't sign a new deal, should he?
Yeah.
We need to use Hill Dickinson to drag the boys over the line and continue this form up the Toffees. Yeah. James Graham says, I know you've been busy recently with America and the 24-hour deadline, but are you going on the next overlap? We really need you back to push Evans' point of view and be the grown-up in the room. Yeah, basically what they do is they keep clubs, I don't know why, but they keep certain clubs on every show. Well, I do know why, because that's where they get the clicks from. So you're not invited to everyone, basically. They just grab a handful. So I'm sure I'll be on the next whatever. I was fuming, to be honest, that I wasn't on this one, because Everton had just won 2 games on the run.
That's why they didn't
and it would have been nice to sit there and just go, remember when I said we'll be all right? there we go. Let's hope we're doing all right. The probably next one will probably be after the derby. So we'll see where we are after that. But
yeah, but we do well in the derby. No chance that happening.
no, there's no chance because if I'm there laughing at Jamie Carragher, there'd be no chance. Mac says, what do you make of Nuno and the Ange Forest story this morning? This was Everton and Moyes went out for Ange. How would you react? I'd be fuming. If Everton sacked David Moyes for Ange Postecoglou, I'd be fuming. I like Ange, I do, but I think he's a mid-table manager who plays nice football. That's what he is. That Spurs squad was miles ahead of Forest squad, in my opinion, and he had them 17th for most of the season. So,
it's been announced now, though, hasn't it? So easy. So.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he might do all right. He might do okay. Might be a bit. I was going to say there's going to be less pressure on him. There won't be. There'll be well more because that owner is mad. But I think that's the worst kept secret. I think he wanted to sack Nuno. The minute we beat them, he was fuming. And then I think they drew with Ipswich at home and he marched onto the pitch and was wagging his finger at him. That was the day it was over.
When he wasn't
for him,
officially the owner. Yeah.
So that was the day it was over for him. So I don't know why it took so long for them to change him if that was it. He got them into Europe.
I had a look when this broke yesterday or last night, whenever it was, and his win ratio at Forest is the lowest he's had in his career. Nuno.
He's done unbelievable for them.
That's what I mean.
Team that just stayed up.
Yeah. But those, whatever it is, 11, 12 points in 11 games, last 11 Premier League games, he's been sacked. Even if, as you say, it was in the making for a while. I think probably that failing Champions League, sliding down the league, whatever. So the question is that the owner presumably thinks he wasn't overachieving in getting them up there in the first place.
Let's be honest, they massively overachieved.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had Chris Wood up front. And I know that Ped likes him, but he's crap.
Who?
Chris Wood.
He's not crap. He's not crap.
All right,
he's not crap.
He's garbage.
He's not.
The fella
don't
is
score
garbage.
as many goals as he did.
Isn't he just a centre-forward version of Dan Burns? Yeah?
Garbage.
No, he's not garbage at all. He's a good good Premier League centre-forward.
Dan Burns, fantastic.
He's not a worldy striker, but he can put the ball in the back. The goal he scored against us last season at Goodison was fantastic.
He has scored goals.
Nias took it on his thigh and put it in the top corner.
He's scored goals in the Premier League every year, hasn't he?
He's a donkey, but he'll put the ball in the net for you. That's fine, but he's not a striker that should have been capable of putting you in the Champions League. Gibbs White, I love. Alanga, excellent for them. Aina, they did well. They've got some good. Murillo, the back's really good. Milenkovic, they got some good players, but they massively overachieved. They were a team that nearly got relegated. They massively overachieved. He done a great job with them, Nuno. The fans were brilliant at the City Ground and got them results. They hit the buffers because they weren't good enough overall. The minute they lost one or two players, or one or two players' levels dropped, Everton went there, beat them 1-0, and should have been about 3-0. It was the most comfortable game I think we had all season. It was the easiest away win we had all season, and we had to wait till the bleeding 93rd minute to score because we missed chances. So for their manager to then have a go at Nuno, because they didn't get in the... Okay, it's frustrating, but they still made Europe. We were in the Champions League with Carlo Ancelotti. In March, we were 4th above Liverpool, and he won 2 of 10 games, which is why Machiri threatened to sack him. That was with Ancelotti, the manager, so it can happen. It can happen. We finished out of Europe. If Everton had got into Europe with Ancelotti, would he have stayed? Who knows? You don't know, do you? Everton might have been slightly... you don't know what would have happened, but what I'm trying to say is Forest still made Europe. If you would have said to that owner when they were 17th and stayed up by a win or whatever it was, he's going to get you into Europe next season. Going to have a great season. You're going to end up in Europe, in the European places. I'm sure he'd have been overjoyed.
It's the tease of being in the CL places.
Of course, but I think...
But he is a bit of a mad owner, so...
He is. So we might have still gone.
The thing is, fortunately, Baz, the playing philosophy of Nuno and Ange are very, very similar. So what could possibly go wrong there?
Yeah. Going to be interesting.
How are those centre-backs going to look like when they have to do it on the halfway line?
Well, that's it. If he does sort of what he did, he done it in Europe with Spurs in the end, didn't he? Like, he had them defending deeper, which made a massive difference.
Well, they won a cup.
Yeah, but that was the worst cup final you've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely.
Scored by the worst goal you'll ever see to settle a cup final. It was apt. But I think Spurs, I know, they haven't had a great, the hit and miss, hard. They won at City and then got beat at home by Brentford or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Beat them last week. But Thomas Frank will just have them deeper. So Van der Ven won't have to do 100-metre sprints every week and snap his hamstrings.
I was going to say he'll stay fit longer.
If Ange would have just made them defend 20 yards deeper, with the players they had, he probably would have done much better, but his philosophy is halfway line. Now, if he goes to Forest and goes, we're playing that high up, then Murillo and Milenkovic are in big trouble.
Big trouble.
But surely he won't. Surely
he must have learned from
he'll
Tottenham.
look. Or he'll try and go and get in January another flyer, won't he? He'll have to look for a centre-back who can cover the ground quickly. But I don't think they have to play that high.
No.
But I don't know what he'll do. Will he just go in and go, this is what they did last year and they were really good at? But that's not his style. Celtic were ultra-attacking. So can you do it in this league? Being ultra-attacking, I don't know. He's got some good players, though. The wingers are good.
He moved from Celtic to Tottenham. Didn't change until exactly, and the owner of Forest, he knows what he is as a manager. So there's no reason to suppose he's going to change it, unless, of course, they had the chat and he said, "Oh no, I've learned, and we're going to drop off a little bit and blah blah blah." But who are they playing anyway?
They're at Arsenal the weekend.
Oh, okay.
King Hoddle said.
Start, then.
Graham Lloyd says that our Forest defence should be interesting. King Hoddle said after Ange's initial 10-game unbeaten league run, we were figured out, and he proceeded to lose 34 of the next 66 games. Comes across as a really nice fella, doesn't he?
They were basically win-lose.
Yeah, he played on the edge, but I still think it's a case of if he'd have just dropped them back 10 yards. He did that. I mean, to be fair to him, but it probably was his doing because of the way they played. They did have some terrible injuries, though. They had to play Archie Gray, centre-back, who's 18 years of age, who's a right-back in the Premier League. You're always going to be thingy. You're always going to be up against it a little bit there, aren't you?
Still ended up with 46% win ratio.
Caught quite a few with the Chris Wood thing. I don't rate Chris Wood. He puts the ball in the net. But again, it's about standards. I like me forwards to have some talent. He's a big lad who puts himself about and he's got on the end of stuff.
So would you pick talent over
You can have your own
goals,
opinion, Connor, but I back mine over yours, mate, every day of the week. What was that?
Would you take talent over scoring goals?
I wouldn't want Chris Wood at Everton. Not a chance. Not a chance.
I wouldn't either.
Not a chance.
Just,
Put it this way, Beto would probably outscore him if he played the full season. I think. And do I think Beto's great? Not really. Do I like Beto? Love him as a human being and a footballer. I think if he played as many games as Chris Wood, he'd probably get a similar... I mean, what did he get last season? In half a season he got. Wood 20. Got 20. Fair play to the ball net, but what did Beto got? 8, didn't he, in half a season? 9, so he probably wouldn't be a million miles away from... Wood's had an unbelievable run, by the way, for Forest. He just shoots them.
34 league goals in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, so he's had an unbelievable... And maybe he's just found the perfect club. But I also watched them at Newcastle score 1 goal in 20-odd games, and I watched them at Burnley. But I still think...
It's funny how you can be 1-2 in the league and not scoring any of the cup games.
Might be they might have changed the team, though, mightn't he, for the cup, and he's not getting the same chances.
But
I think he's done brilliant. Don't get me wrong, he's done brilliantly, and his goal against Everton at Goodison last year was brilliant. But he's not, certainly for me. He's not He's not what I would want. Yeah, that's what I mean. And he's had 2 great seasons at Forest. Maybe he just found the perfect club. That happens with strikers. They go and the play's been centred around them, and he's done really well at Forest.
Well, he had 4 consecutive seasons at Burnley, double-figure league goals.
But Ashley Barnes scored goals for Burnley, and they wouldn't have him either.
Yeah.
Umar got 9 for 8 for Everton, and he wouldn't be in your best Everton strikers, would he?
Preach it to the converted.
Lads can put the ball in the net, can't they? Yeah. But it's whether you.
I think goals covers a lot of ills. Yeah. Souček being an example.
Look at Souček, yeah. Mind you, a lot of people want it.
I'm going you're just describing Beto though.
A lot of people.
You're just describing Beto.
I know, but I didn't say he was crap. You said he was brilliant.
He's not crap, and I didn't say he was brilliant.
I think you might have said he was
He's absolutely not crap.
You think he's not crap though, Dan Burn? You said Dan Burn was crap. He's not crap though, is he? He's playing in the Premier League by your arguments.
No,
he's playing in the Premier League.
He's crap
and does a job for Newcastle. He's not crap. I wouldn't want Dan Burn.
You can't score 36 in 70 games for Forest and be crap.
Okay, you can't play for England and play in a Newcastle team that's got in 2 Champions Leagues, finishing top 4 twice if you're a crap defender.
I don't know. I've seen plenty of players play for England. I've seen plenty of players play for England.
He can't.
He's not crap. He doesn't mean he's elite, but he's definitely not crap.
Dan Burns not crap.
But Dan Burn is.
No, Dan Burn is
Dan Burns not crap.
I think it's very subjective, this, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, of course, it's Ped's view of where he thinks he's right. But again, on strikers, you're never gonna dingy me on strikers, mate. Ever. Souček as well, another one.
Yeah.
You know, scores goals, but would you want? Well, I didn't want him. I know quite a few people did want him.
For what it's worth, I don't believe he turned us down either. So.
No, of course he didn't. But it helps, doesn't it? It probably helps him where he is. Yeah. But Ange will be an interesting one because it'll be if he changes them. I wonder what he might unlock something which makes them even better.
He'll have done a press conference by now, won't he, Ange?
No,
they'll wait for the pre-match.
Surely
maybe.
They'll just wait for that one.
How are you going to play? And he'll say, "You know me."
He could unlock them into something that's really good, couldn't it? Although they were good last year, I thought. Like I just wouldn't have. But again, I'm not the owner, and he's a millionaire. So what do I know?
Is that all?
Charlie H.
Is he only a millionaire?
Or a billionaire, but he's probably a billionaire, isn't he? I don't know. Charlie H says, fair market values the average sponsorship for the team with Jack Grealish in their team over the previous.
Oh, that'd be a good one, yeah.
Paul Davies says, what about Toffee TV, Finch Farm? We want to help Everton here. I don't think 30 quid would help them. David Murphy says absolutely spot on, Baz. We should be maximising our potential. Money laundering can only be evidenced if the cash invested cannot be provenanced. Not a word he's put.
Yeah, it wasn't the literal sense.
We have to sweat the asset, David
He's
says.
a 5-fold billionaire, the Nottingham Forest.
Is he? Yeah, fair play.
So he's worth about half what Dan's worth, yeah.
Fair play to him. Yeah. It's tremendous.
Not bad, is it?
Lou says, I've always found it a little weird that Kick haven't made more of their sponsorship with us. Are they still a thing?
Thank fuck they got nowhere near it.
Language, Timothy.
They're an absolutely disgusting company.
There you go.
They are.
Again,
there's no opinions. Read up on it. They are a disgusting company.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't understand how streaming platform doesn't. Well, yeah. I don't. Maybe Everton haven't wanted them streaming.
Same streaming platform that a man committed suicide on, and they let it just play out.
Just because I said Dan Burn is crap. Fruin says, would a second sponsor, like on a training gear, be allowed? You made up with this fourth kit, aren't you? What's this fourth kit all about? Jay says, I don't give monkeys any more about City. I just want to stay on the positivity train regarding Everton on the field. I'm having sick of football being wrecked by spreadsheets. Maybe I'm naive. John will put me straight. Brian says the Apple Pump House at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Get money there. The Apple Pump House. There's a thing, isn't it? There is a.
Well, they haven't confirmed what they're going to use it for. Have they?
Gary Ward says when a baseball club exceeds the salary cap in Major League Baseball, it just imposes a luxury tax. Those fines get split up amongst the smaller clubs to even things out. How would we do that though? How would you prove it?
Prove what?
Like you're taking that money off them in what way to go between what club? How do you prove you're a smaller club in that mix?
I
I
don't hear it wouldn't be smaller clubs. It would be, quote, the other clubs.
The other clubs. Yeah. James Wallen says, seen Jamie O'Hara saying England need a midfielder like Kante or Casido. Easily put Garner in the mix, and the reporter who was with him said, what about Jordan Henderson? To be fair, O'Hara laughed him down, but that's what we're up against, arguing about Pickford. Benjamin says, Lee Dixon said in co-commentary that Anderson was man of the match against Leeds. Anderson obviously plays for Forest. Incredible. There you go.
He just misspoke.
Graham says England's number one always gets hammered by pundits and press. Most of the keepers over recent years have been subjected to it. I know, but I don't know whether they've been subjected to it in the way he has when he's continually proved himself, though. I get it with ones who come in and have a go for a little bit and then they're out and the next one comes in, but he's been England's goalie. He made his England debut in November 2017, just after he signed for us against, I want to say, Germany. And I think he kept a clean sheet. And he's been England's goalie ever since. So we're 8 years in a couple of months.
And he was young to be the England goalie
exactly,
when he started.
He's got rid of some challenges along the way. And yet he's still getting called into question. I think in the past, they have been unfairly criticised, England keepers, because it's a position that you make a mistake, it's a goal, isn't it, basically? And we've seen people over the past, like Scott Carson in that, Wally with the Brolly game, and, the great David Seaman, who let Ronaldinho's free kick go in over his head, or other goalies. We've seen him get picked apart. David James when he was in, and, others. But he's been in for such a consistent length of time with no real challenge. The challenges that have come have been nowhere near his level. And therefore he's beaten them away, where I think in the past England goalies there's been 2 or 3 where you're going, I could see why he'd play him instead of him, and that's maybe why the spotlight was on them. But that's what I'm saying, if there was a big spotlight on, say Henderson has an unbelievable season this season for Palace and keeps 14 clean sheets, and Pickford doesn't have a great season, I could understand them then going, could be a toss-up this, because and then you might get round the loop of, well, he's never let England down, Pickford, and he understands it. I could understand there being a real push against them. But that isn't the case, and hasn't been the case. No goalie has really been banging on the door. And when Henderson got his chance against Senegal in May, exactly, and absolutely, threw one in his net and was all over the place. And this is a few days after, I know he had a decent game in the cup final, but he should have been sent off after 20 minutes and Palace would have lost the game. 3 or 4, well, you'd expect City to beat Palace 3 or 4-0 against 10 men for 70 minutes, wouldn't you? At Wembley in the heat. So I just feel like they're still sort of trying to have a conversation about whether he's good enough when there's holes everywhere. If England were great and he kept throwing crosses in his net, you'd expect it, wouldn't you? Go, he's costing England being unbelievable, but there's just big gaps everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the narrative there, it doesn't work with goalies, does it? Of, we won all our so-called big 6 favourites in the team, yeah. But if you look at...
Because they don't have England.
That's right, yeah, that's what I mean.
Trafford,
you don't really have... I mean, and he's having some challenges, isn't he, right?
Well, he just bought Donnarumma, so
exactly
that's him
right,
out.
so that's him out,
sure,
yeah. He was just the transition one while we're trying to get... the best goalkeeper in the world, or
he's one of the best two. He is a good goalie.
And he's disappeared out. I'm talking about Ederson. He's disappeared out of the Premier League now.
Oh, Ederson's
and he's only 6 months older than Jordan Pickford, right? So Jordan was here before and is here afterwards. But the England thing, which is picked by who you play for as much as anything else, is mad. Over the years, we've had countless players who would never, ever have got in the England squad if they, say, quote, played for Everton. But they get in if they play for teams who play in red or light blue or whatever. And maybe the pundits just can't get that cognitive bias out of their heads.
Mad.
And yet, and if the narrative is changing ever so slightly, as Ped indicated earlier on, that it's moving now from, well, he's never let England down, but he's crap for Everton. That's just you proving you don't know what you're talking about.
It is mad, because even if the only thing you had was stats, right?
Yeah.
They would tell you that he had I'm sure he had like the third most clean sheets in the Premier League last season.
Probably.
The year before he was up there with a number of clean sheets.
In a team that's struggled.
In a team. So therefore you'd sort of go,
what are you on about?
well, even the stats say he's done all right for Everton. Even if you aren't watching it. You know what I mean? Even if you're not watching him every week, the stats would say it's like watching it's like trying to have a discussion about a strike. There you go, striker who scores loads of goals. Well, you'd have to go, well, all right, done all right for them. You know, if Harry Kane, if you're starting to debate whether Harry Kane starts for England anymore, and you go, well, he's never let England down, yet he's England's all-time record goal scorer, your arguments will fall down a little bit when you go, what's he done at club level? He's got basically a goal a game for Bayern Munich in Germany. You go, and he's still performing for Bayern. Now, you could maybe call into question slightly, if you really wanted to, the level of Bundesliga. If you wanted to, you go, is that as strong as it could be? I'm not saying you can, I'm just saying that could be one route, but but his goal record would say
he's quite good,
more often than not, the lad still puts the ball in the net. And then when he plays for England, he still puts the ball in the net. Now, people could watch Harry Kane and go, you know what? He's slower now.
Well, he's never faster, was he?
No, but you know what I mean? He's slowing down, or he's not as influential anymore as what he once was. Well, he's still putting the ball in the net. There's nuances to it. But even if I didn't watch Harry Kane, I could just look at his stats and go, bloody hell, he's got nearly a goal a game for Bayern or whatever it is. It's a crazy record he's got.
Yeah, just looking. Yeah.
And yet he's still scoring for England as well. So then it comes about style. But with Pickford, it's not like... That's just the bit I don't understand. It's not as if there's a number two who's banging the door down because he's brilliant. But it almost seems like the media want to just throw another name into the hat when they know this English goalie's come through. They just go, oh, it's him. James Trafford's back in the Prem. It's James Trafford now. Oh, he's just give a goal away for City. All right, he'll be pushed away again. That was Nick Pope for a while. It's Nick Pope. How can Nick Pope not get in? Now Nick Pope's not even mentioned, really. So now it's Dean
Henderson. You've seen them all off more than once.
And I think that's the frustration, I think, with a lot of Everton fans, especially when they say he's never let England down, but his form for Everton. But no, we watch him all the time. We know that.
So instead of getting angst, just whenever you...
No, I don't.
No, not you personally, just generally. Just put the person who says it on your list of someone who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
91 in 100 games for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I just think he's...
Kane.
It is what it is. Yeah.
91 in 100.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? That's
Career,
incredible.
nearly 400 in 600.
Semi-charmed life. So, by your reckoning, then, Chris Wood's better than Harry Kane. Fair play. Fair play. I know which one I prefer. Fair play. And...
This was before you count his assists.
And Dan Burns amazing. Because his stats will tell you that he's amazing. So, there you go. So what we're saying on Pickford then? So you don't look at his stats on Pickford? Because if you're trying to flip an argument back, then...
Just give me the name of a player who you think should get in the England team before Jordan Pickford.
Well, none of these will he? Because these are... Even King Hoddle, who's a Spurs fan, says I don't see a better English keeper than Pickford. No. But the bar isn't high. But that, you see, saying the bar isn't high, though, right, is almost saying Pickford's not really that good. When his clean sheet record tells you that he's quite good. Doesn't it? How he's performed over the last few years tells you that he's quite good. Because then you're just making an assumption on he's not very good. He's England's best, but you're doing sort of what Jamie Carragher does there. He's England's best, but the bar's not very high. Well, that's like saying goalies in the Premier League aren't very good then, really. Because the bar's not very... You know, Alisson's good for Liverpool, but the bar's not very high for goalies in the Premier League. No, he's just a good goalie.
Yeah.
Donnarumma's a good goalie, isn't he? But anyway. We talked about this a lot more. A lot more than what I thought. But we've done well, because I was thinking we might struggle to speak. So it's all good. It's all good.
35 clean sheets for England.
Pickford.
Yeah. That was at the back end of 24, so he's got more since then.
Was another
This is just AI.
6 games, maybe?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it 540 minutes or something?
Oh, his footy stats will be better. Yeah.
So therefore, if he has it, then he must have 50% clean sheets, mustn't he? At least. That right?
Yeah.
He's had about another... Because that'd make him 41 clean sheets, wouldn't it? Would it? So if that was if that was 24, he's played another 4 or 5 games. That he could be, maybe he's had 40 clean, so probably more than 50% clean sheets then. But who knows? Listen, at the end of the day, Everton play Aston Villa in a few days.
Yeah.
And that's the real.
And if he gets a clean sheet...
Don't forget about that's the real fun. That's what we want. We need it to be. We need, certainly, to be beating them. Be a tough game, though.
It will. It will.
We haven't beat them since they come up. They're a good side. They've got a few players missing, so it's a good opportunity. Just got to go and do the business.
They need a result, don't they?
We need a result.
I know, but you look at them, they need one as well. So it might be an entertaining game because of that.
3-0 to Everton would be nice.
Another clean sheet.
They can just pick up next week. Let us have this one. Because it's about our momentum. And then they can start the week after.
Yeah.
And then do well. You know, beat Bologna in Europe, and it's happy days for them. But it looks like there's no Onana, no Barkley, no Kamara. Matty Cash is doubtful. So, I know Everton have got a couple of injuries as well, but hopefully we can build on. It is going to be difficult.
So before they play Bologna, they've got us away, Brentford away, Sunderland away. How's that work? I mean, I know one's a League Cup, but so they're catching a few away games, aren't they?
Oh, so they're in that 2 away games on the run thing.
Yeah.
Because they had Palace at home, didn't they?
Yeah.
They started with 2 out of 3. Mind you, we've got 2. No, we haven't, because we have got 2 at home in a few weeks, though. We've got Villa at home, Liverpool away, Wolves away in the cup, and then we've got West Ham and Palace at home.
That's right, yeah.
So they're just on that 2 away game run, this one. So let them recover at Brentford.
But they've lost 2 in a row, haven't they? They've got 1 point, haven't they? So we need to just finish them off and make it 3 in a row. Play what's in front of us, not what they were last season.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right now, they're not a great side, that's all. They're not in good form. You can say the break might have come at a good time for them, but you could also say it might not, because they've got quite a few players on international duty. And so, and again, you can target that with us. We were on a good run. The break mightn't have come at a good time. We don't know.
I listened to you guys talking about that yesterday, about whether it's best to have a rest or not. I mean, they have a respite.
Well, given it, we are going to wrap up in a few minutes, but we may as well do this for the next 5 minutes. Given Michalenko, there's a problem with him. Now, we won't know until David Moyes does his press conference on, what will it be? Depends what he chooses, doesn't it? Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
That we might find out. It gives Branthwaite 2 more. It's give Branthwaite 2 weeks without a game to get hopefully closer to being available again. It's allowed Asnu to play a game last week for the 21s and then train. So you'd like to think he's had no reaction and is back in the squad. It's given Merle and Rail a chance to come in and, train and get the information off David Moyes and whoever's at the training ground, whoever's left and they're working on different things. It's given him that ground without there being, I'm sure Seamus has got into his ear.
Dibbling's had some minutes, yeah.
Dibbling's had an assist yesterday, got an hour. So, and Jai, I think Jai and Garner play tonight, don't they?
Yeah.
5, I think.
They already played a game, so they're playing again. Yeah.
Well, he was sub, wasn't he? He came on, didn't he? And Jai played the game. So they've got their second one tonight, obviously Pickford has. So, but the rest of them have been at Finch, haven't he? Dewsbury Hall, Boonham, all of them. So Jake's been away and played for Ireland.
Learned how to cross the ball while he was away.
Yeah.
Gone to Ped, they were full on Beckham. Yeah.
But that's good, isn't it?
Of course
that's good for them, but it might have just come at the right time because of for those things. But again, rhythm is important, isn't it? I mean, as well as being a dancer, rhythm is important.
Rhythm of the night, yeah.
Because it's about getting that momentum going. But if Everton could go out and beat Villa at the weekend, then I think it also takes a little bit of pressure off the derby. There'll always be pressure on the derby, of course there will. But I think it takes a little bit of pressure off the derby as well. If Everton have won 3 games on the run going into the derby, confidence will be high. Liverpool are at Burnley, so you'd expect them to win that. So they'd have won all 4 of theirs, wouldn't they?
Champions League clash, yeah.
But then have they got it? Well, yeah. Does their Champions League thing start next week, or is it the week after? I feel like it might be the week after.
It must be the week after if Europa League starts then, mustn't it?
Yeah, it must be then. So therefore, there'd be, 2 informed teams coming together.
Like Galatasaray on the 30th of September.
Yeah, so that's the week after.
They play on the 17th. They play Atletico.
Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, they play at home to Atletico.
Right,
yeah,
all right. So they've got it.
First,
right,
yeah.
so they've got a game in
Burnley. Then that, yeah.
So if Everton
then
could,
us.
and that'll be a tough game. Atletico, Diego Simeone there. So, if Everton could beat Villa, they've nice bit of momentum going into that Anfield derby. It's an early kick-off as well, and they've played Atletico. I know, Liverpool are the top side in the Champions, but it's about momentum, and I think you go into that. If Everton have got past Villa, you sort of go into that thinking, come on then, let's see where we're up to. We went there last season. We didn't have anywhere near what we've got now. We went there last season. We had a goal disallowed for, a Midgey's cock, better offside. And the other one he hit the post with, he should have really scored. And they nicked it, really.
They did.
Jota scored a goal that was preventable, even though Diaz was offside and it shouldn't have really stood. They scraped the 1-0. But we gave a decent account of ourselves there. Where this year, with a bit more weapons, shall we say, in terms of the attack. We'll have to defend as well as we did last year. We'll have to be solid, but you could get a good bit of momentum going.
They've spent £400 million on players since then.
They have, and they'll be better. But I've seen the first 3 games, and they haven't been convincing.
They've got results.
They score goals. They've got goals in them, and even against Arsenal, it was a drab game. They come up with something brilliant with 6 or 7 minutes to go, didn't they, to win it? They're a good side, we know that. But that's why I'm saying if we could beat Villa, then we almost go there full of momentum going, right, let's see what these have got, and we'll see where we are after that. We'll know, won't we? But that's why Saturday's a big one. Saturday's a big game for us, because it's getting back. If we can get past Villa, that'd be 3 wins out of 3 at the Hill Dickinson, at Hill Dickinson Stadium. And that'd be a great way to start our life off there, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And, pre-season it would have been, well, clubs, it's new for everybody. Yeah, well, we've won 3 on the bounce.
That would be great,
so the 4th one along is not thinking, they're settling in. They've settled in, and certainly the crowd are settling in quick. So let's be noisy again. Yeah.
Will it be? I mean, it'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? Because Everton have got Villa, West Ham and Palace. So you'd look at those 3 and go,
all winnable.
Imagine if Everton won all of them. I mean, what a way to start life off at home that would be. Yeah. That'd be incredible. Incredible. So, but you can only do what the next one is. That's all we can look at. And the next it's a very, very winnable game against a team that isn't in form. They might be feeling a little bit sort of sorry for themselves. Like when we went to Villa, because we went to Villa this game last season. So we were 2-0 up.
Yes.
And got beat. We'd been 2-0 up the game before and got beat. So we sort of went there feeling sorry for ourselves. And there was an air of inevitability about it when they made it 2-1 before half time. You sort of went, we know what's coming. And okay, it ended up taking a worldie to sort of win the game, and it was from John Duran. And we had chances to kill that game off, even at 2-1. Dom's missed, he hit the bar with one and missed the sitter with the other. But we still came out of it with nothing, even though they would have gone into that going, these are licking the wounds, these are gone, and we went 2-0 up. So let's do that to them. Let's pile the pressure on them while they're feeling a little bit low. Let's do it.
Isn't optimism great? I mean, you just said, let's do Villa, and then measure ourselves against the champions. And then you say, well, we could beat West Ham. We could beat Palace, then we can measure ourselves against Man City then. Well,
that's it, but you'd look at City, wouldn't you, and go, Liverpool and City, the bet. I still think City will have a recovery. They've lost
because they always do. Yeah.
No, well, I just think he can't carry on doing what they're doing, can he? He's going to have to come up with a way, and he normally does. So therefore, you'd look and go, so we're away to the best two teams, really, and or certainly two of the best three teams.
Yeah.
And Chelsea might prove that they're in that mix this season. But just for now, we've got the next two away games are against two of the best three teams in the league. So there's a good way to measure it. Difficult, really difficult games. But the next three home games, might get carried away and start throwing Spurs in and going, well, that's a winnable one as well. But let's just deal with whatever it is. We're a good... Oh, sorry. We've looked a much better team in the last couple of weeks. The fans, the noise at the stadium, the players we've got. Let's start looking a bit and going, you know what? We're a good side. Villa won't fancy this Saturday. Now, things can change games. But if we could get on a run, if we could get ahead in this game, score the first goal and get the crowd going, then they might just give it one of those, you know, this isn't our day today and all that. And that's when you can catch teams. Now, we might get them later on in the year and they're in the bouncing, fizzing the ball around and it's really difficult. But even when Moyes took over his first game in January, there was big changes from what we'd seen under Dyson. We were unlucky.
And it was mindset change that he'd done.
Don missed three good chances that night.
And even then it was a mistake. So.
And we made a big error. And Ollie Watkins showed what a calm striker can do and he slotted it and we lost the game. But I come out going, okay, you know, we've done all right there. We lost the game, but we've done all right. There's been a change. You could feel it. So this is, I think it's a good test, this. Moyes' first game.
Test.
Coming into this one, how much of Everton changed since January to September, and we'll see on Saturday, won't we? We'll see on Saturday, but there is a belief. There is a belief.
King Hoddle, Shilton could not have been the best in the world in his prime, because when he was in his prime, Neville Southall was around.
Yeah, Southall
End of days.
Southall was 4 or 5 times better than Shilton.
I think Shilton was crap.
No, Shilton was all right, but him and Clemens was good. So
they alternated.
They were good, but he still got 125 caps.
He got out-jumped by Maradona. Come on.
He did get out-jumped by Maradona.
That's like saying you could out-jump me.
Short arms.
Yeah, well, it's about timing, as Alcaraz proved with Dan Burn at the end of the season. It's all about timing. And Sean Wright-Phillips proved with Jolie and Lescott in the last minute of a League Cup semi-final. Shilton was a good goalie, but Southall was miles better.
And Shilton was shorter than Jordan Pickford is.
Was he? Yeah,
he's only 6 foot.
Yeah.
And he had hair like someone had knitted it for him.
Well, he had hair.
Do you know
for
what I
the
mean?
time.
Like Nan had knitted his hair for him.
He had hair for the time. I still think he would have looked all right with the hairnet on. Shilton wouldn't have surprised you if he'd have had the hairnet on. But that's fair play. But let's come on.
He did win 2 European Cups.
Oh, fair play. He was a good goalie. I've just said Clemens was a good goalie. So for them to battle for the shirt, he must have been good. And Chris Woods was in there for a little bit, wasn't he? Before he rocked up as our goalie coach after. No, we did. Chris Woods done all right for a bit, but there you go.
He doesn't like people with Woods in the name, so.
No, he does. He should be saying Chris Woods is the greatest. Southall was the best, and King Hoddle does acknowledge Southall was unbelievable. Right, we've had a good chat there. We covered loads, and we've even had, you know, a bit of shade,
stuff as
bants, all sorts. Everything was thrown in there. And who thought we'd be talking about Peter Shilton wearing a hairnet? You get it all. See you later.
I actually said that on Sky last week, by the way.
About Shilton wearing a hairnet?
I said it live. No, about being out-jumped by a midget. I didn't say midget, though.
I didn't say. I said that's not
guy.
What you're saying. I don't think you're allowed to say.
He moved me off quite quick.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah. See you all later. Bye.